So I've done lots of hardware review videos over the past while and certainly little project videos, but I've kind of ignored the business video space a bit. And people have gently reminded me, I'll say, that business videos are important. So I wanted to get back to that, and I know it's been a while, but I really wanted to answer two specific questions that people seem to be asking over and over again. And the first one is, what is it I should build to make money? And the second is, and where do I sell it so that I can maximize my profit? So if you're interested in the answer to either of those questions, stick around. How's it going, everybody? Steve here, and welcome back to my shop. And this time I'm doing a business video. People have asked, and I know it's been a while, and I apologize. I've been a little swamped with a lot of things lately. But I wanted to start by kind of going through some of the comments that have been left in videos, and I've come across an interesting theme. And to paraphrase, people are, there's more than one person saying, look, I bought a laser, I spent thousands of dollars, I built my product, and I think it's fantastic, and I put it up for sale, and no one bought it. This business sucks. And that should not be the sentiment. So what I wanted to do is take a bit of time to kind of pull things out of my own meandering thoughts on things that you can build. And I'm talking trivial little things, and I've covered most of these in videos already. And things you can build for profit, and more importantly, where you can sell them to maximize your profit. So let's get started. Okay, as we get started here, I promised a list of 4 or 5 items you can make. Now, I'm not going to go through the details of how to make them. I've done videos on most of these, and in fact, all of them, I believe. And if you're really interested, if you pick one of these and say, that's my thing, that's what I'm going to do, just go watch the video. They're all in my backlog, and you can find them there. Number 1 on this list is keychains, and you're probably already groaning, but you might be saying, who buys keychains? Well, the answer is everybody. Everybody's got them. So you just need to find the niche there, and we'll talk a bit about that. Number 2 on this list is coasters. Again, you're probably saying, who cares? But everybody's got a set of coasters in their living room, and if you go to other places, offices, buildings, there's coasters as well. Third on this list is glassware, and this one is obvious: wine glasses, beer glasses, water glasses, just anything like that. Fourth on this list, and I was a little shocked actually, I did a video a while back on garden stakes, and it didn't actually do that well, and I think I've actually removed it from my backlog. But I've honestly made more money off of garden stakes than anything else, and it's really easy to do. So we'll talk about garden stakes and why you should consider those. And last on this list is signs, and I love signs. I've done edge-lit signs and layered signs, layered acrylic, wood acrylic combination, wooden signs. So it's just one of those things, and you can certainly make a lot of money on signs. Now, I won't go, as I said, I won't go into the details on how any of these are made. We'll just assume you can go watch some other videos and target those. But I will kind of go through next where you can sell these to maximize your value, and also places you shouldn't sell them if you want to actually make money. So we'll proceed to the next step here. All right, let's get started here. I got mini-me up in the corner, and let's do a little exercise here, looking at a place where you might first think you should sell something, and that's Etsy. And make no mistake, there are people who make money on Etsy, but if you're trying to establish yourself, Etsy is actually a pretty tough place. For one thing, there are just dozens and dozens of little micro fees every time you sell something. And you'll find that if you kind of price yourself to make an item and make 15% profit off of it, you'll find that that's not nearly enough. You just won't make any money, because by the time Etsy's done with you, you just have nothing left. Now, Etsy is a good service, there's no question, but they're definitely, they're definitely in business to make money, and you're the mark in that equation. So, we'll start here, and let's say we were going to make coasters, and this will be the reason you don't want to use Etsy. So if I look for something like slate coasters, you'll see I'll certainly find lots of them, and If you look, you can see coasters as low as, you know, $10, $15, $20. Now, my prices are in Canadian dollars because that's where I am, so the prices may look a little higher if you're in the US, but you know, it's just crazy, right? So if even if you're making 4 of these and it's $45, well, that's a total cost of about $11 a piece, 11 and a quarter, and it's going to take you on a CO2 laser of say 40 watt power, which is probably where you're going to start if you're just getting a business going. It's going to take you at least 3-4 minutes to engrave one of these. And it's also going to take time to prep it. You either want to spray it with clear coat, or after it's engraved, maybe you want to put some mineral oil on it or something to darken it up. There's just work. And you also have to design it. If you're doing custom things like this one, then you're going to sit down and put something custom on this before you load it up to your laser. So you have to factor in your time. And I also did a video on job estimation a while back, so you can look at that. But let's just assume that, you know, this is kind of the going rate, you know, at $45 for 4. Having said that, there's one down here for $26.71, and so set of 4 coasters for $26. There's a message there, right? So, and the message is, if I now go to Amazon and say I need to buy some coasters, so if I just search for slate coasters on Amazon, you can see here's 12 of them for $29. Again, these are all Canadian prices. Round ones, 12 for $26. So what's that? You know, roughly $2 a piece. So at $26 for 4, it's gonna be tough for you to make money. And what's really happening here is, if we only kind of scratch the surface here. I searched for slate coasters, and we get a bunch. But if you scroll down Etsy to the bottom of this page, and you can see there's a lot there already, there are 8 pages of slate coasters, at least. And your competition is serious here. In fact, there's more, right? If we keep going, you'll see that it's really just endless. So you have to ask yourself, is this really a market you want to be in? And the answer is probably no, because you're going to compete with everybody here. And it's a brutal place to be, right? Like here's one. If you want a custom, you can get one for $11. I don't know how many they're going to sell at that price. Maybe they get somebody who just happens on them. And I've had this. If you go look at my slice pie design page on Etsy, you'll see I have very, very few sales here. And it's because I don't really pay that much attention to Etsy. And I'll tell you why you shouldn't as well. And again, I have nothing against Etsy. It's a good way to get global exposure, but there are just so many fees. So let's take a look at how we actually do make money. Okay, so now let's take a look at where we can sell some of these things. Start with keychains. Easiest place, sell keychains to people that deal with keys. Lawyers, real estate agents, used car dealers. And, you just go to them, cold call them and say, hey, I've got keychains. I can make something that's very special just for you. And, you can kind of capture a market that way. And every time they sell a house or sell a used car, they will use one of these. And inevitably, you kind of pressure them into it a little, we'll say, by saying, look, every time you give one of these keychains away, somebody who drives that car will show their car to somebody else, and they'll see that keychain and go, hey, I want one of these too, right? And they'll come back to you. So you can kind of pitch the value to say a used car dealer. So let's take a look next at coasters. Now, avoid the Etsy style custom logo thing, because you're not going to sell that many. There's too many people out there. The way to do it is to go to places like bars, businesses who have maybe a nice lobby, and you know, they offer people who come in and sit in the lobby a glass of water or a coffee, and they put it on a nice coaster sitting on a table in their lobby. You know, so start with those kind of places. I happen to live in an area where there's lots of wineries, and they all have tasting rooms, so you can go to them and say, look, you want your tasting room to look really cool, you know, here's a way to finish it off, right? You can get some of these nice coasters, cork or slate or glass, and every time someone, you know, you pour someone a drink in your tasting room, they'll see this coaster, and maybe you can even sell these, right? You can create an opportunity for them to sell their own brand of coasters. Next, glassware. This one should be really obvious. Wine glasses and beer glasses and water glasses. Think bars and hotels and restaurants. And you know, you go to them and say, you know, especially bars, right? Hey, I can put your name, your bar's name on every glass. And the beauty there is they're going to buy a lot of them if you can convince them to buy. And that isn't where it ends. They break a lot of glasses every day. Every day there's going to be glasses broken in a bar. So you just create an open order and say, every week I'll bring you 12 more or 20 more, depending on you know, how busy the bar is. And so you can create that. So next on the list is garden stakes. And I mentioned I did a video which did disappointingly poorly. So I think I pulled it off of my YouTube channel. But I was shocked because I've made a ton of money off of garden stakes. And the way I did it was I targeted places like garden centers and farms. And I mean the kinds of farms that sell plants, especially at this time of year in the spring. Last year, I kind of mentioned this to somebody who sells tomatoes, and he said, hey, can you make some stakes for me with the names of my tomatoes on them? And he sells 50 different varieties. And I said, sure, we can try them. I didn't think it would actually do that well, but I think I laser cut 20 of each variety, and it was a matter of a day and a half when he called me back and said, I need more. And you know, he was charging $2 a piece or 3 for $5, and people were just eating these things up because they take their tomato plants home, they plant them in their garden, and then they couldn't remember what they were. So they were buying these stakes and sticking them in the ground once they planted their tomatoes. So all summer they knew what the tomato plant was, and it was just insane how well that did. Last on the list, signs. This one should be really obvious. Sell to business. You can certainly sell to individuals, and I've done a couple of kind of special wooden signs that people hang outside their front door, but it isn't what I normally do. But I've done lots of edge lit signs, and I've done a couple of videos. And you take them and sell them to business, right? And you don't necessarily have to be the person that creates that sign, that big sign on the front of their building, but you know, they all have a store hour sign. They have an open and close sign. They have signs on their shelves that list you know, the details of items. They have lighted signs for exits and washrooms. You just go to them and say, hey, I can build these things. And the nice thing about those is they scale. I also mentioned in a video Lamacoid signs, these multi-layered plastic signs. You know, I'm making some of those for a solar company here. They use hundreds of them every time they do a solar installation. They put these little nameplates, sign plates everywhere on all their panels and things. So you know, you get that kind of business, and once you get that, they're locked in. You give them a good price, and they will buy in volume. So you don't have to worry about making $10 on every sign. You just let them trickle away, and it all adds up. So there we are. There's a few simple things you can make, and you know, some places to sell them. You know, you may still want to have an Etsy store, or I certainly do. I largely ignore it. I also have the same kinds of things on my own website, sliceply.design. But by far, the place that I find most interesting and most rewarding, honestly, is custom stuff. That may not work for you, but you know, I can assure you, if you're competing with the 800 people making slate coasters on Etsy, you're going to have a much harder time. So we'll leave it at that. As I mentioned, I was kind of rambling here on just some of my thoughts as I've kind of done things, but hopefully you got something out of it. I'll put a video up on the side here. It'll be one of the videos for one of these items, how I made it. If you're interested, go watch that, and I'll see you over there. Otherwise, get out there and make your world, and I'll see you next time.